Hello and welcome to this city tour of Paris. Today we're going to be flying the Flight Design CTSL over the city, and we're going to try and pick out some of the main sights. We're going to start this tour from the Aerodrome of Saint-Cyr-l'École, which is LFPZ, and we're going to take off from runway 11 left. Asobo have done a wonderful job of modelling the world in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but of course they can't cover it all really in detail. Paris was one of these cities that was just a little bit lacking, but ORBX have produced this scenery pack, the Paris City Pack, which covers 200 objects in medium detail and 15 objects in high detail. They've also managed to correct some of the terrain issues, including the River Seine. So straight after takeoff we're immediately going to fly over the Palace of Versailles. This was the principal royal residence of France up until the French Revolution in 1789. Paris is a beautiful city, one of the finest I think, and well worth a visit. Everyone should make an effort at some point to get to Paris. If you've visited Paris, or even if you live in Paris, leave some comments below and tell us what you think of the city and what your experiences were. We're heading in a northerly direction up towards the River Seine. We'll follow the Seine round up to the city centre and pick out some of the famous sights of Paris. We join the Seine just before the bend, where we can see the Ile Seguin. Just at the start of the Ile Seguin is La Seine Musicale. This performing arts centre was opened in 2017, and as you can see it's quite distinctive in its architecture. As we come round the bend of the Seine, just over to the left we have the Parc des Princes, home of Paris Saint-Germain football club. The stadium has a capacity of around 48,000. Next to the Parc des Princes is the Stade Jean Bouin and also the Stade Roland Garros, which is the home of the French Tennis Open. On the right we have the Ballon de Paris Generale, which is situated in the Parc André Citroën. The spiral buildings on the left are the Maison de la Radio France and the Auditorium de Radio France. Our next landmarks require no introduction. On the left we have the Trocadero, and on the right of course the Eiffel Tower, looking down the Champ de Mars towards the École Militaire, and in the distance we have the Montparnasse Tower. The stepped building above the left wing is the Tribunal Judiciaire de Paris. We're now flying over the Gare Saint-Lazare and heading over towards Montmartre and the Sacre-Coeur. The Sacre-Coeur was built between 1875 and 1914. It's located on the highest point of the city. There are some splendid views right across the city from this location. We're turning left here and we're going to follow the railway lines that come out of the Gare du Nord. This is the main entry point for Eurostar services into Paris from London. We're now heading up to the Saint-Denis district. On our right is the Stade de France. This is home to the French national football team and French Rugby Union team. It currently has a capacity of just under 81,000. The stadium was initially constructed in time for the 1998 FIFA World Cup. Banking right, we're now going to follow the Canal de Saint-Denis back in towards the city centre. We're following the railways back in and we're about to pass over the Gare de l'Est and the Gare du Nord just to the right. The square on the left wingtip is the Place de la République. This square contains a statue of Marianne, who is the personification of France. And under the right wingtip is the Place de la Bastille. This is the site of the Bastille prison, which was stormed during the French Revolution. The green area just to the left, which we're just passing, is a cemetery where Jim Morrison is buried. Just passing below is the Place de la Nation. This was previously called the Place du Trône, but was renamed after the French Revolution. The square includes a large bronze sculpture called the Triumph of the Republic, depicting Marianne. We're now going to bank right, and we're going to follow the River Seine back into the city centre. The unusual octagonal building that's coming up on the right is the Accor Arena. This is an indoor sports arena and concert hall, which opened in 1984. Passing on the left are the Botanic Gardens, along with the zoo. Also on the left is Sorbonne University, the Pierre and Marie Curie campus. We're now approaching the Ile Saint-Louis, and beyond that the Ile de la Cité. The next landmark, of course, is the Notre-Dame Cathedral. The cathedral was built between 1163 and 1345. We then pass Sainte-Chapelle. This is a royal chapel within the medieval Palais de la Cité. It was a residence of the kings of France until the 14th century. We're now about to pass over the famous Louvre Gallery, which amongst the many items is famous for the Mona Lisa and the Venus de Milo. You can see the distinctive pyramid entrance. As we pass over the Jardin des Tuileries, on the left we can see the Musée d'Orsay, contained in a former station. Down below is the Place de la Concorde. The centrepiece is an Egyptian obelisk. Beyond this, on the left, we can see the Petit Palais and the Grand Palais. And we now look up the famous Champs-Élysées up towards the Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe honours those who fought and died for France in the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, and of course is the location of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier from World War I. The tower on the right is the Hyatt Regency, and the park over to the left is the Bois de Boulogne. The built-up area in front of us that we're heading towards is La Défense. Before we reach there, however, on our left is the Fondation Louis Vuitton. This museum features modern and contemporary art. Again, it's one of these buildings that's very striking in its architecture. This museum opened in 2014. We're now going to cross the Seine and then circle around the area of La Défense. This is Europe's largest purpose-built business district. The most striking feature here is the Grand Arche, which can be seen right in the centre. The white building is the La Défense Arena. Passing back over the Seine now and back over the Bois de Boulogne. This large area of land was given over to the city by the Emperor Napoleon III in 1852. We're heading now past the Trocadero, beyond the Eiffel Tower, looking down the Champ de Mars towards École Militaire, and in the background the Montparnasse Tower. as we pass the tower, over to the left we can see Invalides and the dome of Napoleon's tomb. This contains the sarcophagus of Napoleon Bonaparte, who was brought back from the island of St Helena in 1840. The Montparnasse Tower was constructed between 1969 and 1973. It was the tallest skyscraper in France up until 2011. There is an observation deck at the top, giving stunning views across the city. Just on our left wingtip is the Palais du Luxembourg, set in the Le Jardin du Luxembourg. We are now passing over the Pantheon, which is a mausoleum for distinguished French citizens. This includes Voltaire and Victor Hugo. Passing over the Ile Saint-Louis, over the Seine, we're heading towards the very distinctive Pompidou Centre. Its distinctive architecture, where plumbing and ducting is all on the outside, making it look inside out. The building contains a public library, the largest museum for modern art in Europe, and a centre for music and acoustic research. We're now heading up past the Gare de l'Est again, and the Gare du Nord on the left. We can look up the canal here to the right towards the Bassin de la Villette. The comms tower on the right is the Télédiffusion de France tower. I'm going to take another couple of circuits over the city now, but I'll keep quiet and I'll let you enjoy the rest of this trip in peace. See if you can recognise and pick out some of the landmarks. I really do hope you've enjoyed this tour of Paris, and I hope you can join me again on some of my other videos. Thanks for watching, and if you do like this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again in a future video.